Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Yoga Life. My name's Tania, for those of you that I haven't met. For those of you who I know well, good to see you all. Nice to be here. And it's, as I mentioned, quite an auspicious day today. So it's the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, which has and carries quite a lot of energetic weight in terms of releasing what we don't need any longer and seeding and setting our intentions for what we want to bring in over the next 3 months as we head towards the light. And it's also the International Day of Yoga as declared by the United Nations, and that's not a mistake that it falls on the solstice, whether you're in the northern or southern hemisphere. So the Indian government brought this day to the United Nations, and it is historically, it received the most votes approval of any bill that has ever been brought to the United Nations. So yoga, I guess, is seen as a unifying force across the world. All of the politics behind it, it doesn't matter because there is politics behind it, but what does matter is that yoga brings us together. And isn't that a beautiful thing? So we celebrate that, we celebrate the solstice, we celebrate life, and tonight's practice will be a winter yin practice. We'll focus on the kidneys and bladder lines of the body because if you haven't noticed, we're in winter, and deep into the trenches of the cold days and the long nights. So we'll ground into the darkness, we'll celebrate the stillness, and we'll spend some time together. Please go ahead and lie down, and we're going to come into a pose because we only have 60 minutes together. I want you to set up your waterfall pose or yin inversion. So you're welcome to use your strap around the feet. You're welcome to use your bolster under the sitting bones to help you hold the legs up. Some of you may even choose to move to a wall, but you can go ahead and lie back. And in its simplest form, without props, you're lying back, taking the legs up. Arms can be down or lifted. If you'd like to add props, you might want to add the yoga strap around the feet, something to hold onto. Or you could place your yoga bolster or a pillow or a block under the sitting bones, which will tilt your pelvis and help you to send your legs up without effort. Legs can be apart, knees can be bent, head and shoulders supported on the earth, and you want this to feel quite easeful, quite simple to hold your legs in this way. So I will leave you alone unless you call me over, and if it looks as though you need some additional assistance through the practice, I'll approach you gently and offer my time, and if you don't want it, you don't have to take it. Please trust your body and just begin the process of transition from out there to in here. And begin the process of starting to pay attention to yourself and listening. So this pose I mentioned is called the waterfall. A beautiful pose for winter because the kidney pathway starts at the soles of our feet. Kidney 1, the bubbling spring. And it cascades, this point helps to cascade or move the water down the legs along the kidney pathway. Your ankles, inner legs, through the pelvic bowl and into the space of your kidneys, the organs that flush and move water through your body. And water is the winter element, the yin element. So it makes sense to start in this pose, and perhaps as you take your legs up, you can imagine a flushing of your day, your week, a release of the pressure valve so that the waters flow freely around and through you. Continue your transition onto your mat into sacred space, time for you. Eyes can be open or closed. Breath steady, no need to control. And the breath becomes your anchor and sets the rhythm and tone. But again, this does not need to be forced or strained or hard or difficult. I'm going to try and hold this pose for about another 2 minutes. Of course, if you need to release, you can. And you never need permission to exit a yin pose. Maybe you need more softness, soft knees, soft belly, back of head heavy, shoulders heavy. Maybe you're just right as you are. Imagine shifting what is stuck. Feel the fluids draining without resistance from your feet to your pelvis. Let the energy flow, the rivers of water through the legs, downward to its source. And this beautiful time, this beautiful opportunity to hold space for yourself in this auspicious day. For the final minute, I invite you to take the arms up toward the feet. You don't have to, only if it feels as though it's adding to your experience. And as you extend your fingers up toward the feet, you might want to make a few circles through your wrists, even your ankles. You might want to flick a little through the fingers, release through your toes. And remember that yin yoga is a practice of release. So whether you're choosing stillness right now or taking this opportunity to move a little, to tune into that feeling, remember that the choice is always yours. 5 or 6 more breaths. So very gradually you can begin to release. Feet back to earth, hands down beside you. You have that bolster under your sitting bones. You can push it under the back of your knees, or you might want to take it out altogether. And then please just lie down, come to ground, come back to earth for your first rebound or resonance pose. This beautiful place and space that we absorb and soak in the after effects of the pose. And tonight is all about blood and essence. And these are 2 concepts from Chinese medicine that marry beautifully with our yin yoga poses and help explain how energy moves in us, around us, and through us. Blood and water. Blood and essence. Tonight we'll nourish the blood and move the water as a way of helping you to feel replenished. And take about 5, 6 more breaths in your rebound, paying attention to how you feel at the conclusion of the first shape and inversion, likely to have shaken things up, dislodged. Give you a little more time just to be. We take inversions, we reverse the need to push against the current, we reverse our action. And they can bring us beautifully into this place of non-doing. Gradually you can start to bring your body back to life, little movements to awaken fingers and toes. Maybe it's a stretch of your arms up, lengthening your whole body long as you take a big deep breath in and a releasing breath out. Hug your knees into chest, give yourselves a squeeze, roll around your lower back, nourishing the physical space of your kidneys. We're paying attention to the organs, but also the energy lines. You can roll onto your favorite side and just ever so slowly press your way up toward a seat. So the next pose will nourish more the blood, targeting more the spleen, the inner lines of the legs, so spleen, kidney and liver pathways. I'm going to give you 3 options for your legs, your lower body. So option 1, the butterfly, soles of feet together, knees wide, heels far away from you to make a diamond shape. As we move maybe forward, you could sit up onto something, so a pillow or a blanket. Some of you won't feel much in this pose, maybe your knees are high, so you might choose to take a seated squat instead, taking the feet apart and coming through the center line to get more through the inner seams, outer hips. And others will prefer the straddle or dragonfly, legs straight in a V, folding forward through the center. Feel free to add any props to support your body to hold for about 4 minutes. So maybe a bolster across or tucked under the chin. It's a nice popular way of holding yourself up. Some people like the bolster in front of the body to catch the head or the chest or the belly. Again, feel it out, experiment, and if you need me, I'm just a wave away, so you can always call me. You want to round through your shoulders, you can relax your tummy, relax your head and your neck. You want to feel in this practice, but you also want to create a safe space for softness. So some of you look as though you're still gripping or holding your day. See if you can relax and soften, disengage the muscles. Preparing for your long hold now. I'm going to turn in and tune in, and this is a pose that helps us to really pay attention to the space of our heart. Really nice place to check in emotionally. How are you doing? Where's your head at? And if your head is still thick and heavy, maybe you want to just relax a little through your neck, your jaw. You can open and close your mouth a couple of times to release any tension that's residing in that space. Notice the position of the tongue in the mouth. back line stretched, your front line compressed. Notice the beat of your heart, notice the breath, feel the internal rhythm of your body. Some of us are so tuned in to our bodies, the internal landscapes that we can sense the rivers flowing through us, the blood moving, the water moving, the lungs expanding, contracting, the heart beating. Yoga brings this beautiful gift of helping us to befriend our body, helping us to inhabit our bodies. But also knowing ourselves, our emotional state, paying intimate attention to ourselves. About 5 or 6 breaths left. What are you going to do with those breaths? Can you slow them down? Can you soften just a little more? Blood is a nourishing energy. Blood nourishes and replenishes. Perhaps think about the fact that you've done that in this pose, in this shape. Nourished your heart, your organs of spleen, kidney, liver. And then gradually you can start to leave the pose. Try to move slowly as you exit. Lifting your head up. You can move props off to the side, out of the way, help your legs to come in. And then please lie down. Let your spine come back to a neutral and safe space so that you can integrate and absorb. And you're welcome to bend the knees if your lower back is tender. And as you stretch out and lie back, everything can feel changed, different, achy, fragile, brittle. This is normal, it will pass. Perhaps you've spent some time today reflecting on yoga in your life, as I have. But again, one of the beautiful gifts of this practice, it reminds us that everything is temporary. What is here now with you at the conclusion of the pose might not be with you in another minute. So try to stay present to your experience. Maybe you feel the waves washing over you, the comings and goings. I'm going to stay lying down, so without disturbing yourselves too much, just reawaken gradually, little movements, toes, fingers. Then please bend up your right knee. You can hug that into chest. We'll hold it for about a minute. You can hold above onto the shin bone or under the knee and behind the thigh. And again, you're not stuck here. So some of you will come into this pose and want stillness. Others might want to move a little through the joints, ankles, knees, hips. But just a minute to explore this shape. This is a beautiful traditional shape. sometimes called the wind relieving pose. Good for decompressing your spine. Again, bringing conscious attention and energy into that physical space of kidneys, lower back. About 5 more breaths, make them slow and conscious. Notice if you're breathing through your nose or through your mouth. You can stay here. Maybe this pose is giving you all the feels. Maybe it's just how you want to be, or you could roll over onto your left side, turning this into a spinal twist. On Fridays, I love to twist. It's again this way of releasing the pressure valve from the week. You might want to place a bolster under that right bent knee as you roll onto your left side. Some people like to tuck the bolster between the legs. That can feel really supported and safe. Arms can be wide out away from your shoulders. Try to open a little through your right chest. So let the weight of the back of the right shoulder blade drop to the earth. Elbows can be soft, knees can be bent, legs can be straight. Feeling pressure through the spine, but also into the belly, so as to nourish your digestive organs. And as I said, releasing tension from along your spine and into your mind. You have 3 minutes in this twist. One of my favorite descriptions of twists is this idea of squeezing and soaking. Again, a beautiful reference to the element of water. The body's made up from so much fluid. We are water. Which means we're soft and we're flowing and we feel and we yield. And we have this power to move around objects in our path, to go with the flow, and to be in the flow of life. And again, our yoga, it teaches us how to do that with more ease and grace. Final 50 seconds. final few breaths, what will you do? How will you spend these final few moments? Pushing against or softening into. And gradually roll your bones out. Make your way back to a neutral pose, and there you can rest. This is the soaking part of the twist. As you come out, releasing the pressure on the internal organs, allowing the fluids to flow back into the parts of the body that were restricted through the twist. So see if you can feel the flushing, the movement here. We'll spend a minute resting between sides. What does yoga mean to you? This season, this winter, provides this perfect opportunity for reflection, absorption. And gradually you can start to bring yourself back to life, a wiggle of your toes, your fingers. Get a stretch of the arms above you, a hugging of your knees in. Sometimes simple is best. But as we move to the second side of those two shapes, you might notice a difference because your left and right sides are not the same. So you can start by drawing your bent left knee in toward your chest and just holding that for a minute. Again, your knee might be wide or close in. You're welcome to move through the joints or stay still. And there's no rush to get to the next destination, even though you know what it is. Try to stay in this moment. Just a few more seconds. And then when you're called to twist, you can go ahead and take your body over, rolling onto your right side. You can keep your left knee bent. Some of you might like to tuck a bolster under the bent knee or between your legs. If the left shoulder is floating, sometimes it can feel nice to have something under that shoulder, and other times it feels good for it to float. Do you want something under your shoulder? Yeah. No. Feels better? And try to relax through your belly and your spine so that your spine can soak up the twisting pose. Remember, we're not forcing, just meeting your edges. And every day is different. Winter stiffens us up, makes us a bit rigid and hardened. Even that might be the case. Just see if you can find some softness in this pose, in this twist. Release of your spine and your mind, and the tracking and the doing. About 1.5 minutes left in your twist. You can check in if the body is calling you deeper, or maybe you need to pull back. From the Tao Te Ching, the I Ching, writings from the ancient Tao, the spiritual principles that guide traditional Chinese medicine. I'll share with you from verse 15. Do you have the patience to wait till the mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself, the effortless action? A beautiful reminder on patience, which is another gift of yoga. Less reactive, calm in the eye of the storm. We're able to ride the ups and downs. So gradually you can unravel yourself, unfurl from your twist, and take your time so that you can feel the flushing, the surge, the movement of the waters back into the parts of your body that were restricted through the pose. You don't have to lie on your back, you can lie on your side, you can bend your knees, just rebound in a comfortable place and space. And use this time for settling back into the mud. do you have the patience to wait until the mud settles and the water is clear? The next pose is going to be a choice. So before I offer you the choices, please just reawaken gradually, little movements. And if you feel a disinclination to move, please know that that's normal. As we begin to relax and succumb, the body doesn't want to move as quickly. And then many of you have been practicing yin yoga for quite a while with me here in this studio, some of you 5 years, and then beyond that. So I'd like to offer you a choice, your favorite back bend. Maybe it's a supported bridge, maybe it's a supported fish, so lower spine, upper spine, maybe it's a sphinx, maybe it's a frog, maybe it's a saddle. And if you've got no idea which back bend is your favorite, because maybe you haven't been practicing as long as Sue and Cal and Tess and Helen and Jasmine, it's okay. I'll give you a little option for the supported bridge. So that pose would be lying on your back, and you might want to use your blocks because they are steady and strong. You could slide 1 or 2 blocks under the sitting bones. And this will target your lower back, the kidney space. Once you're here, you might choose to extend your legs long to stretch the front line through the front of hips, or you might choose to take the arms up overhead. So this is the option for those of you who can't decide or don't want to make any more decisions on a Friday. And for those of you who love free choice, then you've got those options: supported fish, sphinx, saddle, frog, or any other back bend. And if you're still not sure, please call me to your side and I will come and help you. But choose a pose that you can sustain and maintain for about 4 minutes. Add props to support your body, to hold comfortably for long periods of time. Turn the heaters up a little for those of you putting on some extra layers. Many of the ancient yogis, they practiced yoga to find moksha or liberation. Liberation, freedom from the afflictions of life, everyday life. And this is another gift of this practice. Again, what is yoga to you? What does it mean to you? Blood and essence. Through the back bend, we're targeting the back line of your body, your spine, the river of life. Shumanadi, central axis channel pathway. The bladder pathway runs either side of your spine, so the water's flowing up and down your body. You've got about 1.5 minutes left in your back bend. That time, if you want to explore a slight change, a softening, you're free to choose. You can start to close the chapter of the pose. Please come out really gradually. Float your arms back down, bend the knees. Move the props out from under your body and find a comfortable resting pose. You can stretch out, take up space. Back bends will typically open us up. Front body, back line. They can feel more yang in their nature. So now we come back to our rebounds. Back to that yin space of doing nothing, of stillness and quiet. Just a minute. Gradually start to wriggle your toes and fingers. Take a stretch or a bend of your knees, hug in. So the final pose will go for about 10 minutes. and this will lead us into Shavasana. It's a restorative pose. So you are going to need to just roll onto your side so as to do a little bit of construction. But the idea is, again, to set up a supported waterfall so that we can continue the flushing, the release. Hopefully you can see me, but if there's any questions, again, just give me a little wave. You're going to want to set up your bolster on an incline. So your 2 blocks, one on the higher edge, one on the medium edge. Just setting that bolster up on an incline, and the higher the incline, the higher your legs will go. You might want to lie onto your blanket or have it near you to cover you. And your yoga strap, which we tied into a loop before we started, is going to go around your legs. So you can bring your left hip up toward the bolster, and then you'll swing your legs up onto the bolster so they're on an incline. Take your yoga strap, bring it around the thighs, tighten it as much as you need, and it's just working as a container to hold your legs so you don't have to strain. And then you can lie your way back and be in a supported inversion. So I'm going to come around and assist you because I know that was a lot of information at the end of class when we're so relaxed. But do your best to set something up that feels good. And of course, if you don't want to do that, you do not have to. You can take a traditional Shavasana. Yeah, I like it around the thighs because it's... Do you want a strap, darling? You're okay? Feel good? Yeah. Do you want another blanket? Okay. Here, wrap this one. Lift your feet. Take it around the thighs. And then you can just tighten it. It's just a container. Lie back, see how you feel. And then if you want it tighter, it can go tighter. It's not doing anything, it's just holding your legs. Do you want something under your head? There you go, that floor's a bit hard. Are you warm enough? Okay. Does that feel comfortable? How are you going? Yeah, that's right, you got it. So you just lie, bring your sitting bones right up to the edge of this one. Yep, that's it, right up to the edge, that's it. Yes. Now lie down. Make yourself cozy. This is just to hold the legs so you don't have to strain. How's that feel? Good. Do you want another blanket? You warm enough? Yeah. So please give me a wave now that you're contained. If you need anything, I can bring it to you. I know that this will be your final pose. So from here on in, you don't have to do anything. You can simply exist in this moment. As you lie back here, taking the weight off. Lifting your feet up toward the sky, softening the back line, spine, shoulders head into the earth. Soften your belly, relax your jaw, shoulders, and just see if you can imagine that tension dripping out of you. yoga gets into our blood. It becomes part of the essence of who we are, of how we are in the world. From here, please start to gently bring and pour your attention back into your body. It might start with a wiggle of your toes, and then perhaps move to a stretch of your arms up above your head. You can yawn and sigh. To come out, you might want to bend your knees. Your feet could rest on the bolster. From there, you could maybe reach the strap, or you could leave it on. You can roll over onto your side. And it's okay if you knock the structure down. We can always rebuild tomorrow. And this practice of yin, a balm, an antidote, medicine for the modern world in which we live. Gradually crawl your way back up to a seat, back into the darkness, the wintry night. Tonight is a night for sleeping. Tonight is a night for warm soup and salt water baths for your feet. Yeah. That is all that is on the menu tonight. Let's bring our hands together in prayer, honouring this time spent together in health and healing, honouring the space we've created and this chance for your nervous system to repair, a tissue and one cell at a time. Oka samastas kinom bhavatu. May all beings be safe and free from harm. Thank yourself for showing up, taking time to do the work. We thank each other for being present in the space. And we thank this ancient practice, and the gifts that it gives us day in, day out. Namaste. Well, there you go. I didn't talk too much. Good to see you all. Good to be back. Take your time to pack up. There's no rush. I'll get some lights on for you so you can see. Hopefully not crash into doors.